Excuse me, sir.
Oh, thank
but
you.
It's time to goose.
Callad just resubbed for 50 months. Morning-ish.
Excuse me, sir, but it's time to goose.
Wow.
Tom
Thank you.
Place just resubbed for 17 months. Buon
President
giorno.
Trump's
So this is from the Wall Street Journal talking about the tariffs.
auto tariffs are here, and that means
A 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff.
but no car, not even a US-built Ford F-150, is 100% US made. Just look inside.
It's made up of thousands and thousands of parts. Those parts come from over 24 different countries.
Countries like Mexico, Canada, Romania. Trump wants these parts to say made in the US. But moving all of this is not so simple.
To lift and shift that whole thing, that's kind of like saying, oh, pick up the state of Maine and move it over to Wyoming. Could you do it? I suppose you could, but man, it would be tough duty.
So let's break it down to understand what Trump is trying to do with a slew of new tariffs, and why automakers are warning it could backfire. This chart shows where cars sold in the US are coming from.
Do you know what the crazy thing is? Is that a lot of the people that are supporting Donald Trump and wanted him to be president are massive free market, ultra-libertarian, ultra-capitalists. And this is some communist shit. Like, this isn't capitalism. This is this protectionism, sort of like saying, no. We don't import those filthy capitalist dogs' cars from America. We'll make cars here in Russia. I mean, this is not capitalism for him to be this protectionist. I just wonder how all these free market types are squaring this with their beliefs.
All of these cars...
And if they're like, well, this will guarantee that American workers will get those jobs. This is good for America. It's like, yeah. That sounds great. Like, globalization, hasn't been good for the environment, especially, has caused a lot of areas where we used to have work is dried up in a lot of developed countries and in the West especially, where we used to have factories. Now we have call centers, We could go back to people making ships again in the UK. We could do that, sure. But the problem is it's better and cheaper to get them from somewhere else. But what he's saying is, no. We're not going to buy from anyone overseas anymore. It should be made in the USA. But that really does seem to me like quite almost like a more left-leaning view, because it's protecting working class jobs in America, which is not a capitalist free market concept.
Cars now pay that 25% auto tariff. But this 53% of US-made cars is also affected by that tariff because of all of those foreign parts.
Some of the major components, this is for the Ford F-150. They have an alternator, create current. It's from Mexico. We have half shafts. These deliver torque to the wheels from the driveline. They're from Canada. We have tires, of course, 5 of them. These come from Korea. Of course, you have to have wheels. In this case, a styled tractive wheels. These all come from Mexico.
Those tires from South Korea would face that auto tariff, and any reciprocal or universal tariff placed on the country. Those parts from Canada and Mexico, well, that's where it gets more complicated. Eventually, they would face that auto tariff, any reciprocal or universal tariff, and an additional Mexico-Canada tariff. But the White House said parts compliant with the US-Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement, or USMCA, remain tariff-free until there is a process to apply tariffs to their non-US content. And for some parts, like a transmission, there will be a lot of content to consider.
When you realize what goes into an automatic transmission, that's what this is. And so you can see this plethora of parts, gears and seals, springs, fasteners, valves, and shafts, all these different parts. They can come from different suppliers, and those suppliers can be located pretty much anywhere in the world.
Take a look at this map showing how Canadian manufacturer Linamar creates transmissions for the US market today. It takes 7 border crossings before that part is in a car being sold in the US. These 3 crossings into the US would eventually face Trump's tariffs. And even if the manufacturing of all of this was moved into the US, this part, the raw steel, would still be subject to Trump's 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum.
This is going to be disruptive on day one. It's going to increase the cost of doing business.
The total amount depends on the vehicle. A Cox Automotive estimate shows a car made in the US would incur $3,000 in costs from the Canada-Mexico tariffs, plus another $3,000 from the tariffs on foreign-made auto parts. Then research shows an added $400 for the steel and aluminum tariffs, and more for any reciprocal or universal tariffs.
Have you heard any concerns from the automakers, though, about the tariffs on parts that will go into effect over the coming weeks, about what that's going to mean for the price of
Well, I
American-made
gave them a big
cars?
break for a month. I didn't charge them anything, for a big month, for that first month. And they brought a lot of material into this country because they could bring it in without tariff.
But eventually, added production costs could change what cars buyers see on dealer lots.
You could see a stop in production of a number of vehicles, some of which are very important to some of the automakers.
Trump's goal, however, is to pressure automakers to make them in the US instead.
This is going to lead to the construction of a lot of plants.
And the White House said the duties on Canada and Mexico are also meant to disrupt the drug trade.
We've lost millions of people due to fentanyl. It comes mostly from China, but it comes through Mexico and it comes through Canada.
The trade group representing Ford, GM, and Stellantis said,
Comes through? What is he talking about? Comes through? I heard that the Falkland Islands has a massive tariff placed on them. The Falkland Islands. God, he's a clown, isn't he? Good luck, America. Oh no. No. Please don't go. Why can't I add that? Oh, fuck off. I don't just fuck off. I don't want to sell them. Why did I make it clear I don't want him here? I absolutely want him here. God, this game is so fucking weird sometimes, man. The Falkland Islands have had it too easy for too long. The little penguiny bastards eating our fish and splashing in our pools and looking adorable. It's gotta stop.
Now, as you've probably noticed,
Dim, 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 dim.
there have been some remarkable developments in the video business lately. 3 years ago, for instance, a firm called the Video Collection began selling classic films at the knockdown price of £9.99. Today, they can be bought for only £4.99. Of course, more recent pictures have always been much more expensive, costing, if not an arm and a leg, then at least a finger and a toe. 50 to 70 quid perhaps. But now that too is changing with the release of the Oscar-winning Rain Man either on rental or for sale at £14.99. Buy it by all means, but remember that you're expressly forbidden to watch it while Film 89 is on. However, here's our report of what's happening in the video trade.
Sell-through is video which is available for the general public to buy directly so that they can take it home and own a copy of the film. In recent years, we became aware that people would like to own their own copies of films. So what happened after about a year, 18 months of the film being out for video rental, it was repackaged and made available for sale.
The sell-through started off as a range issue with back catalogue titles, older titles, on Channel 5, people like Video Collection, and really they were issuing old black and white films generally at a very cheap price. Once the market was established, now we have major studios who are actually selling videos to the public, direct to the public, as a first step rather than going through rental outlets, as I think they're planning to do with Rain Man.
We are now looking at a business that's multi-million pounds for a company like HMV. The market for sell-through video will be at least as big as the market for compact discs in 2 years' time. Beyond that point, we think it can probably go up to about twice as big. To give you an idea, this Christmas we are looking at taking somewhere of the region of about £10 million in December alone.
We rent videos for home, but they're mostly shows for my husband and I. The children's tapes we tend to buy. I have the Disney classics, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, and Mickey and the Gang.
Very occasionally, the more expensive ones I rent, but not the cheap ones. I tend to buy them.
I really can't see.
Ritz Video Hire. I haven't thought about them in years.
Many of our members buying Rain Man when they can rent it here for between £2 and £3 a copy. And I think Warner's, in the long term, will see that the number of films that they sell will be for the rental market rather than the sell-through market.
I'm sure that it will be a success. Our research shows us that the demand for the sell-through copies will probably exceed 500,000 between now and Christmas.
There is bound to be some element of the population who don't want to buy Rain Man and simply want to rent it for £2. Having said that, there is going to be a large proportion of people, having seen £800,000 of marketing money spent, who want to buy it. So it's becoming increasingly imperative that the rental chains become involved in selling videos, not only renting them, if they're to maintain their share of the profits of the video industry.
God, these guys are so boring. I will also say, God, human beings are weird. Aren't we weird? Like, we've created all this concern, meetings, studies, consultants, analysis. Are people... Right, gentlemen, the question before us today the rental market and the purchasing market. We need to understand this growing, exciting new field of home movie purchasing, not just rental, but purchasing. I want as much research done into this as possible. And they're like talking about it as if you're discussing our exploration of the Mariana Trench. I used to enjoy renting stuff because it felt like it was fun. First of all, it was fun to have a new movie that you hadn't seen, or a film that was too old for you. Like fucking Die Hard. I never would have seen Die Hard as it was meant to be unless we'd rented it. It's just interesting. Melts. Oops, wrong tab. Let's know in which tab Melts was intended. Oh, he got a 10 and scored 3 goals. Luca Cardozo, good lad, good lad, good lad. TV viewing habits of the 70s. What do kids watch?
Children watch a lot of television, more than most people. So we've come to talk to a few London children to find out what they watch and what they think of it.
Susie, can I start with you? I think you're the youngest of us here. How old are you, actually?
I'm 10 years old.
And how much television do you get to watch each week? How much do your parents let you see?
Well, my mother goes out to work all day, so I come home on my own, and I watch all the kind of children's programmes when I come in.
And how late are you let watch?
To about 8:30.
It's about 8:30. Well, let's go to the other end of the scale, so to speak. Julia and John, I think you must be amongst the oldest of us here. How late do you stay up, Julia?
I usually stay up at the latest about 10 o'clock. I usually watch the children's programmes when I come in, and then later on I choose whether I'm going to watch something or not.
What restrictions do your mum and dad put on you? Do they tell you when you're going to bed?
Yeah.
All right, what time, John, for you?
9:30, or if there's something like Two's Company on, 9:45.
9:45. How old are you, by the way?
13.
You're 13, and Julia, I think, is the same age.
I'm 14.
14. Right, are there any things that you're not allowed to watch?
No.
Nothing at all? What if there's something on that your parents want to watch on the one channel and that you want to watch on the other channel? What happens then? They get it.
Yes.
Simple as that, no argument.
Well, there probably will be an argument, but they'll get it.
Well, let's turn to Meg. How old are you, Meg?
13.
And what happens when you have a disagreement with your parents about what you should be watching?
We've got something fixed that I have the choice of programmes up until 9 o'clock, and then my parents from 9 o'clock onwards. But then if there isn't anything that they want to watch, or if we want to watch the same thing, that doesn't stop me watching after 9.
You can dictate up until 9 o'clock what the family watches?
Yeah.
Right, can we turn to Alex here? What about you? Are you let dictate what your parents watch up till 9 o'clock?
I can watch whatever I want.
Can you?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you
watched when you were...
She was loving that answer.
Watch whatever I want.
Can you?
Yeah.
She's loving that answer. Gosh. I mean, so yeah, this was like, you didn't have more than one telly. That was very unusual. You didn't have a phone or anything to go on. And, telly, 4 channels. I mean, 1979, I think it would have been 3. I love the idea that they're like, you have full choice until 9 o'clock. Oh, gosh, thank you, Mum and Dad. By the way, you can choose from 3 options. How many did I grow up with? When I lived in the States, I think it was 13 channels when I was in New York, something like that. We didn't have cable. I think it was 13 channels, something like that. 12 or 13? I want to say 13. Just on the TV. And then when I moved to the UK in 1984, when was Channel 4 launched? 1982. So, yeah. Channel 4 had been launched when I moved here. But it was seen as like the rebellious channel, It was like a lot of stuff for younger people. I think Channel 4 has been fantastic. I think it's, across the 5 main channels in the UK, Channel 4 has always been my favourite, I think. But yeah. So yeah, for me it was 4 channels, and then I was at university when they launched Channel 5, which was just insane compared to the other 4 channels. It was like so shit. They had all kinds of weird cobblers on there, and they'd always put a soft porn on it about midnight. So we watched it when we were at university. I think there was a show called God's Gift. With Davina McCall. What channel was it on? It was on ITV. How about that?
Couldn't help it. Okay, welcome to God's Gift. It's the dating show that gets your ovaries ticking, doesn't it, girls? Well, it gets mine ticking anyway. It's about 5 guys who are fighting against each other for the title of God's Gift. They have to compete in 6 tests of their manliness, and our lovely audience of stunners tonight are going to decide which one of our handsome cats is actually God's Gift in turn.
Me and my mates watched this at university religiously.
He will then whisk one of you off to an exotic location for a dream date. Bingo! Fantastic! What more could you ask for? How?
She said bazingo.
Bingo! Fantastic!
for
What
bingo.
more could you ask for? How exciting! Okay, now I couldn't go any further without the help of Mr. Charisma. That's Stuart Hall. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Davina.
Is that Stuart Hall, the disgraced former presenter?
He's got a poem.
When I consider how my light is spent.
Stuart, can I hold on 1 second there? We've got a girl that's been here before. Let's get the
Right.
poem. Let's get the poem for a girl. Do you remember the girl in the white lace dress?
Do I?
With the bra. It's her. What's your name? Becky. Hello, Becky. Becky's back.
Wonder Woman. Prim of delicate form, beloved by the sculptor Donatello, who hated Michelangelo's muscular men. His favourite dates would be, and there he is, mysterious, he's only going one way. His favourite dates, Judith Chalmers and Gloria Hunniford. This boy needs mothering.
Matt, I'll mother you, Matt. I'll mother you. She'll mother you. Don't worry, we'll
Mother
look
him,
after you.
smother him.
Now, Matt, what's that photograph of yourself? Because how can you be God's Gift looking like that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You've got to have a sense of humour, though.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Top
suppose-
sense of humour, yeah.
Top
yeah,
sense
yeah.
of humour. You've
Yeah.
got that?
Yes, got it.
Congratulations. Thanks, Matt. See you soon.
This was such a bad show, man. So bad. How many games did you play for us last season? Pretty average player. He could improve. He's world class, apparently. I don't want to sell him. Even 206 million. I think we kind of have to sell him, in all honesty. Considering we just signed a couple of midfielders as well. Ah, man. I'm gonna accept this offer. It's just so much money. I accept. What you say he's a playmaker. He's got 4 assists and just above a 7.0 average. If I bought that for 200 million quid, I'd be furious. Nigel.
Nigel read a brain box. a 20-year-old psychologist at Humberside University. He's a towering 6'2", slim of waist, and there he is.
Look how poorly turned out these lads are.
He's 21 with a thrusting physique, a magnificent chest. He's dangerous. Billy Winter with a spring in his step.
Stuart said it, I think. Stuart did actually say the word thrusting there. And I think we'll all agree that the thrusting physique is quite attractive, don't we think, guys? Yeah, thank you.
He's a pocket.
Why is he so wee?
Pocket battleship is Garfield.
Guys, please, contestant number 5.
Oh, go wild.
God, we didn't know how to dress in the 90s, did we?
Anthony Stack from Burnley, the sex centre of the British Empire. Or what used to be the British Empire. There he is. The card actually going down on him. He trains the juniors for the fabled Burnley Football Club. The days of McElroy, Miller and Alison. He is a big stirrer. Big stir.
You know what's nice about Anthony, right? Smile, boys, smile. I'm talking about television adverts. You know the ones with the guys in, and you look at the guys and you think, God, where did they find him?
Give it some mouth. Go on.
Good God. I can't believe we watched that show. Either way, the lads have to compete in various tasks. And then the way they decide who's won is the girls have to vote. And the guys stand at the front of the stage on a particular sort of space. And then there are sort of lines drawn on the floor, and the girls go and stand in front of that lad to vote for him. And the tragic thing is, there's always one lad who just gets no fucking votes, and it's quite clear that the girls are just not interested, immediately not interested. No interest in signing a new contract. Why? He doesn't want to sign. Okay. I mean, all those lads, it was like jeans or some kind of trouser, and then a shirt, very baggy shirt, untucked, that came down like miles. That's pretty much what all these lads are wearing. They've all got pretty shitty haircuts too.
Is there anything that you watched when you were younger that you wouldn't have liked your brothers and sisters? What about you, Edward? Is there something that you watched when you were very much younger that you wished you hadn't?
Well, I think play school things maybe that. I think.
Why do you wish you hadn't?
Well, apparently my mum used to tell me that after watching that, I used to play out and sort of run about the house, flapping my arms about, saying I'm a canary and things like that.
Well, what about anything that's been frightening that you've watched that you wish you hadn't seen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen a really nasty horror film. That was my first one. That was called The True Story of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So a hand came out of a cupboard, and I've never forgotten that, and I don't think I'm going to watch it.
So, in fact, would you, when you got older, would you have restrictions on your children watching some programmes because you were frightened?
Yeah.
I think it'd be very difficult, really, to decide, because it would depend how old they were, what sort of programmes were on then. I mean, things might have changed.
This is what they're talking about. It's a made-for-TV movie. Apparently it's 3 hours long. Gielgud!
In prayer, our Father.
Just because
There's no need to explain anything. I understand.
I hope you do. Sometimes I don't understand myself.
Dr. Cavell, yes. He's a strange one.
Quite the. There are signposts.
Why is this bit the most replayed? bit slight for Frankenstein, isn't he? It's like they're giving us a Thriller video. Holy shit! It sounds like he's laughing. God damn!
That of a corpse. He will probably be committed to an institution for the criminally insane.
That man belongs in an institution. All night. Surely you don't.
Does one of you know Polidori?
Gosh, 3 hours. Imagine watching that. As a kid, that would have been genuinely fucking shocking. You'd have rather stayed? What's the problem? Yeah. Dickheads. I fucking hate the fucking player stuff. I'm not being funny, but we've won quite a bit here, you fucking morons. When was I appointed manager? Other. I was appointed in 2041. And in that time, we've won the Carabao Cup, the UEFA Europa League, the Premier League, the Community Shield, the Super Cup, the Premier League, and the Champions League. 2 leagues and 5 cups, including the Champions League. And you guys are like, I don't think you know what you're doing, Gaffer. We won it last season. Absolutely demolished Bayern Munich in the final. They had won it the previous 3 seasons. There, look at that. They were complete dominance, and we fucking spanked them silly. Bam 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 bam. Boo doo 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 boop biddy bop biddy boot. Beep ba ba boop boop beep boop deep. Za da dee da boop ba da bop biddy doop beep boop boop. Boo doo doo be doop dee boop ba bop. Beep 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 boop boop beep. Za za beep zoop zoop zip. Beep free kicks, corners, passing, technique. Who have you got? Oh. Oh. This lad's excellent. Damn. This lad's really good. £240 million. That's a bit steep. He plays for a team called Pyramids. Is the Premier League my peak? I think that... Where is it? Where do you look at... International Ranking Club... So we are the third most reputable club in the world, behind Inter and Bayern, and ahead of Real Madrid. So yeah, we are extremely well regarded. What I want to do is get on here. And we are, one of the things that the board wanted was for us to be the most reputable team in England, maintain the best youth system in the country within our wage budget, which we've done, sign players to sell for a profit, which is something we haven't done yet. But every time we sell a player, the rest of the squad comes stomping in. Oh, how dare you sold? I can't believe you sold Steve. Steve's been my mate. Shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to criticize my job as the gaffer when I'm literally one of the most well-regarded managers in the world. And who are you? Huh? Oh, shit. Tottenham squad to be decided. We're favourites. I just think it's ridiculous that you can't develop a managerial character where the players are scared to come and fucking bitch at you about stuff. Like, that seems to be impossible. Like, I feel like if the fucking players stomped into Pep Guardiola's office, yeah, Gaffer, we're not happy that you sold so-and-so. He'd say, get the fuck out of my office. Gosh, I almost dropped my phone. Hate that. Has the Walkman changed society forever? Wow. Here we go.
Benjamin Landy has been playing tournament chess with his fellow humans for 26 years with great success. Now he's pitting his 10 million nerve cells against the 40,000 microcircuits of a computer.
Okay, I'll type in the command to play black for the computer, and then I'll type in his move, which is pawn to king 4.
Last year, the computer, a fellow member of the American Chess Association, beat Mr. Landy. There was an outcry. American chess journals described Landy's defeat as a disgrace to the human race.
Knight, king, bishop 3.
Fairly good, still according to the book. Bishop 3.
Since that last match, both have improved. And now Mr. Landy is keen to recover his reputation. He may not. We shall follow this game to its end, though the outcome is as uncertain as it was last time. What sort of mechanical...
Hell's Kitchen, let me think. A few episodes in, Raj is still on the show. Boris is still on the show. They voted out one of the few people in the kitchen who could actually cook, but she was a terrible teammate. Gabrielle or something her name was? Miranda? I don't know. It's just, Gordon is just so fucking horrible to everyone. Really humiliates them. Like, unnecessarily so. And it's like Raj and Boris can basically fucking do anything and they'll still somehow stay in because, you know, everybody wants to see what stupid thing they're going to do next and see Gordo yell at them.
Brain can challenge us in this way. Some of us think of them as inhumanly dull. To others, it seems that computers are baffling their creators with prodigious intellectual feats. We're warned that machines must be restrained, lest they take over. Even the experience of those in constant touch with them is of little help. To these programmers, a computer presents a constantly changing image. Is it a good servant or a bad master? Is it more than it seems?
You know, we've all heard the story of the computer that sent out a gas bill for no pounds, no shillings and no pence, and then proceeded to pursue this chap and eventually send out a letter telling him he was going to be sued for this amount.
Yeah, it's something to fear. You've got to admit that a situation can arise with a computer which gets out of control, and computers can get out of control.
But that we must have more strict control over the way in which they're programmed, which is an entirely different kettle of fish.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and also we should keep half an eye on what they're doing so that when they make silly mistakes we can catch them.
Finish the story at least. He got so fed up with receiving this bill for £0, 0 shillings and 0 pence, followed by summonses and so on and so forth. He eventually wrote a cheque for £0, 0 shillings and 0 pence, which he sent to the gas board and kept them quiet but blew the bank's computer.
There's a way to make sure it's right. People are fighting that an inanimate object is going to control their lives, their gas bill, and send them to court.
Well, of course they should be afraid. These things can take over. All you should do is build up complete and utter scepticism about their abilities.
Oh, no.
And let
let
them prove it for themselves.
Well, the thing is, nobody's really come up with an intelligent machine yet.
Yes, but how do you define intelligence? Which always comes back to this one question. Always, invariably back to the question, how do you define intelligence?
Intelligence must have something to do with the building up of experience.
I think intelligence is probably best defined in terms of manifestations of intelligence.
An intelligent machine is a machine which can do something which, until the machine did it, was regarded as the perquisite of intelligent man.
Intelligence is very mysterious. We don't know quite how to describe it, how to define it, and we certainly don't really know in detail the processes going on leading to the understanding of a problem to a solution. But what we do know is that we're capable of doing it, therefore it can be done. In other words, we can realize that in our own head there is something we can call an intelligent machine. We know this exists, therefore we know we ought to be able to make one.
I mean, I think therefore I am.
Mechanical rat finding its way around a maze. In a real rat it would be called learning. Underneath the maze is some clever engineering and banks of electrical relays. Constructed in the 1950s, this rat, together with mechanical tortoises and turtles, were early attempts at producing intelligent behavior. While devices like this never emerged from their mazes, they did convince the skeptics that what appeared to be a form of learning could be reproduced mechanically. But theories of mental processes have become too complex and revolving too rapidly to be built into ordinary machinery. The answer was to turn to the electronic computer.
Manchester University, where anyone who urgently wishes to know whether 2 to the power of 127 minus 1 is a prime number or not, can be given the answer by an electronic brain in 25 minutes instead of by a human brain in 6 months. Setting the machine for this kind of problem takes a week. Then the brain is switched on and impulses passing to the computer make the actual calculation. The computer itself contains 1,500 valves. The brain at present is only in the experimental stage, the answer being read from a cathode ray tube. Later, an automatic keyboard will type the answer.
When these machines were dubbed electronic brains, their makers rose to the defense of the human intellect. Computers didn't think, they only did arithmetic rapidly. But to a few, here was a device which could mimic the functions of real brains. A machine, behaving intelligently, they maintained, does not need to resemble a brain any more than a flying machine resembles a bird. If a machine can talk with you, then regardless of its mechanism, it is thinking, whether you like it or not.
Now this is a terminal, and it's connected over the telephone line to someone or something at the other end. Now I'm going to play 20 questions with whatever it is. I have a list of 100 animals or objects to pick from, and I'm going to pick a computer. So I type yes. Computer's not animal. Nor is it vegetable. Yes. Not a form of transport. Not really. No, it thinks it's a telephone. Very helpful.
Hang on. Hello, you rang. You want money? Okay, how much? No problem. I love you too. Bye, sweetie.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, well, that was
This
actually
is some
a computer on
fucking
the other
burns,
end.
man.
In
Look
fact,
at
there's
this,
nothing very
lad.
fantastic about that. All the questions and all the answers were programmed in. But you can imagine that it might be quite easy to feel that there was a person on the other end. Now, some years ago, the English mathematician Turing proposed a test to find out whether a machine was thinking. He said that if you couldn't tell whether you were talking to a computer or to a person over one of these terminals, then, assuming it was a computer on the other end, the machine could be said to be thinking. And there's a story that sometime last year at MIT, where they've got a lot of these terminals all over the place, scientists can connect via the terminals to a central computer or to other scientists who've got their own terminals. But one man was talking firstly to a colleague. The colleague went off the line and he found himself connected to the computer. But the interesting thing is that he didn't find out for some time, so the story goes, that he was actually talking to the computer.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people at MIT have remarkable social skills. Wow. So, he was in the UEFA Champions League Dream Team, African 11 of the Year, African Defender of the Year, and African Footballer of the Year, and English Premier Division Team of the Year. He was in that. That's fantastic. I think this kid is sensational. Sorry. Why do we... Why do we have these lads on trial? I don't remember asking these lads on trial. Oh, yeah, the fucking testimonial. You're right. Thank you.
A computer, it seems, has the flexibility to manipulate symbols at almost any level. How can a machine, which most of us still think of as a superpowered adding machine, go beyond just numbers and handle man's other symbols, words and sentences?
The computer is a machine for manipulating symbols of any kind. It doesn't matter what they symbolize. The machine doesn't know that. All it can see is the noughts and the ones and the A's and the B's or whatever it is that one puts inside it. and whatever one says should be done to these symbols, the machine will do it.
Computers and their programs can be compared to a nutritious soup in which it's possible to grow all manner of intelligent processes. The computer has one or more memory devices capable of storing symbols as magnetic marks on rolls of tape. The control unit is wired to understand and obey absolutely a range...
See all that shit? This is like a supercomputer compared to everything they had back then. I mean, all of this crap, an Apple Watch puts it all in the bin, right?
Range of simple instructions. For example, fetch a signal from its memory bank or put it back. Processes more complicated than those wired into the computer can be carried out by a large number of additional instructions fed in by the human programmer. One particular feature of a computer program makes it a really powerful basis for creating artificial intelligence, its ability to make a choice.
If you have a program that you feed to a computer, there will be instructions all over the place saying, if such and such is now the case, then do this. But if not, then do that. And to do this or do that may mean move to some other point in the program and start from there. Rather like a recipe that runs, if the milk boils over, then, but if not, carry on. And this is something which, in fact, we recognize in ourselves as a very important...
What would be the hardest? Build a nation. And don't say San Marino or Andorra. They are overdone. Build a nation. What does that mean? You'll need to fill me in.
Aspect of intelligent behavior, the ability to make choices according to circumstances.
The computer is also very fast. Its components have a speed advantage over human brains of about 100,000 to 1. But in a game of chess, there are too many moves to choose from. Even the most powerful computer would take an eternity to explore all the consequences of a single move. Benjamin Landy takes only minutes because human brains, and now computers like this one, take shortcuts. Programmers call them heuristics. Basic chess tactics like safety of the king and control of the center of the board are built into the program. This means that the computer doesn't waste its time trying all the possible moves.
Knight to rook 2.
Knight to king rook 2.
Ah, knight to king rook 2. That was ambiguous. The computer typed out ambiguous. Knight, king rook 2.
Note that the computer is sometimes brainier than its operator.
At the moment, each of Benjamin Landy's moves has to be laboriously typed into the computer. If in the future we want to avoid explaining to the computer what is obvious to the human eye, the computer also has to be able to see. For a start, it would be very useful if it could recognize numerals and alphabetical characters. The computer has to learn that man's untidy mind gives many different shapes to, for example, the figure 7. The computer has to read the essence of each numeral. The problem is that to see, all the computer has is a spot of light moving very, very quickly over the character, but it can only handle one spot at a time.
It's rather like you imagining that you were a fly, trying to establish whether the Mona Lisa was a good picture or not by crawling across the actual face of the picture. So that if you imagine the machine scanning a page full of characters, it looks at each point on the paper in turn and says, well, this point's black and this point's white, and then acquires a sequence of black and white points, and then processes them again, rather simple-mindedly, at one point at a time, and eventually comes to a conclusion that the character's 1 or 0.
An experimental weapons tracking system. The human operator has selected a target, but the computer keeps its sights locked onto it. For the computer to select the target, in other words, pick out what is relevant to the problem, is proving enormously difficult to do.
It's easy enough to connect a television camera electronically to a computer. What is very difficult is to make the computer interpret the pictures in the camera in terms of an external world of objects. And the curious thing is that this was perhaps the first great intelligent feat, if you like, which was successfully developed in evolution. And so although quite simple animals can do this, we still can't make a machine to do this problem, which was solved by animals hundreds of millions of years ago. This is a very curious thing. Now, my own belief on this is rather the following, that brains have developed a whole series of shortcuts. They use certain assumptions, a very clever kind, to make a problem tractable. Now, when we look at certain phenomena in perception, illusions, visual paradoxes, which we can set up easily in the laboratory, so to speak, fooling the eye, we can get a clue from these as to what the assumptions are which the brain normally adopts, because in certain situations, the internal assumptions lead to error. And looking at the error, the confusions, the paradoxes, we can work back and realize how the brain does it. We then have a hope of building this strategy developed by evolution into computers to solve the problem of the seeing machine. This thing is an
Well, where would be a good country to do that from? I suppose you'd want a country that was surrounded by powerful footballing bodies, like Luxembourg. Tiny country, low population, surrounded by all these big European clubs, and any club in Luxembourg is going to have such a tiny ground and tiny fan base. Your youth team is going to be minuscule and garbage, and it would be very, very hard. I guess you'd want to do it with the editor and make yourself non-fireable or something. Damn fly. I have never understood why I don't have a big old spider living in my room. This would be perfect. I get loads of flies up here. Because we're at the top of the house, they come up here and get stuck. Where are the flies? Where are they? I know. Matterhorn. And the thing is, I don't want to keep a spider, like, I don't want to have to go and get a fucking tank and all that shit. I'm just saying, I would love a spider to live in the corner of my room, even a big one, like, I don't mind, and just chill up there, and you'll fill your belly with flies. You like flies? We got it. Oh my god. Clay. Bill Clay. Well, Bill, you ever fired a gun? Just those guns that shoot red paint? Time for the real thing, Bill. Kommt. Zoffel. Americans all alike. God, our best penalty taker is a 9. Good luck, lads. Yeah, we get a decent number of spiders too, in all honesty. Had an absolute whopper in the kitchen the other day, stomping about all over the place. And my kids are all... My eldest doesn't give a damn. My youngest doesn't really like spiders. I mean, I've always thought being afraid of spiders is a perfectly reasonable thing to be afraid of. Because if even living in the UK, if I was sitting here and a spider crawled up my leg and I looked and it was huge, I'd go, "Aah!" like that. But if I looked and saw like a mouse on my leg, I wouldn't freak out anywhere near as much. I'd be like, what are you doing there? But a spider, ugh, I like them, but I don't want them on me. We won a penalty shootout. Enjoy it, lads. We won the penalty shootout. That's what football's all about. Winning the Community Shield. Yay. The door? One moment. Sorry for the constant coming and going. I know, it's a great movie though. I mean, spiders are pretty scary, you know? They're like pretty crazy looking. There's no part of them that we can like look at and there's a connection there. Like when you look at an animal, you know that you can see their eyes and you can see them looking at you. You recognize their body as not that dissimilar from your own, right? Like even a cow. 4 limbs. Nose, mouth, eyes, ears. In similar kind of places to where we have them. Ears on the side of the head. Eyes in some animals. More to the side, but essentially at the front. Nose is forward of that. Mouth is below the nose. Legs have knees, ankles, you know. We understand it. You look at a dog, you know, you can look in a dog's face and they're looking at you, and they can, even off your expression, they can start to gather information. You look at a spider. I mean, what's there? Which eye are you looking into? And when you do, this black, unblinking orb with his little teeth and fangs, and they don't walk or run, they scuttle. And they'll sort of do nothing, and then suddenly they're sprinting. England's most deprived town.
I don't know about, we don't see much government, so who is the government? When you live in Jaywick and you're stuck here for like 20, 30 years, who's the government?
Jaywick.
Where is government in Jaywick? Where's the pavement? Where's the street light?
Near
Where's
Clacton.
the jobs? Where's the opportunity? Where's anything? They want us to pay tax for our cars when we go over a pothole every 30 seconds. But I'm just fed up with people saying government when there ain't one in Jaywick. We are the government, the people of Jaywick. We run it ourselves.
Are you happy to be moving out, or do you want to stay here?
I've had enough, really. I've had enough. I'm too old for it now. I'm 68 years of age. I don't want all this no more.
Just complete with boom. That hole was about that deep.
What changes do you think Jaywick needs?
Money. Finance. That's what it needs.
Watch out, there's some sort of orchid here.
What do you think this is, sir? We need your analysis.
Probably.
That wasn't really a nice joke. You said it was an immigrant.
No, that wasn't nice. That was nice at all. Still, it's good for the documentary that you're seeing these issues happening as we're here.
Yeah.
We're not making them up. It's really happening, isn't it?
Real life is wild.
This is real life. Real life is wild. I love that.
Yeah.
I might need that one as well. Real life is...
What is Jaywick?
Jaywick?
Jaywick is a coastal village in the Tendring district of Essex. Around 2 hours away from London, this seaside town thrived on tourism and leisure, but in recent times has taken a turn for the worse.
It's one of the most deprived settlements in England. Parts were ranked as the most deprived in the 2010, 15 and 19 Index of Multiple Deprivation.
Many calling it the most deprived place in the UK, me and my team decided to check this place out to see what it was really like. Before we made this trip, however, we decided to find a local Jaywick resident to give us a tour and show us a side of Jaywick that the media doesn't see. It was vital that we got a perspective different from the other YouTube videos and documentaries online. For this, my producer and B cameraman Dante went on a Jaywick Facebook page and sent them a polite message asking for help. The responses were interesting. No! We've had this before. Leave Jaywick alone. Sick of reporters bringing the good side of Jaywick down. You should be ashamed. This got 9 likes. My Instagram stories get less likes. So you come here, probably show the worst parts of our beautiful Jaywick, ignore all the good for likes on YouTube. Please don't come. 2 likes. You know what, I'll be honest, I actually genuinely understand their frustration. A lot of YouTube videos go to Jaywick and only show the deprived parts of it. So if you're a Jaywick resident and all you see on YouTube is your area in poverty and misery, I kind of understand why they would look at us and think we were going to do the same. But our mission was to document the real of Jaywick and actually see if this place was as bad as everybody said it was. Read the room, mate. You're not wanted. Neither is your silly YouTube vlog. And that actually offended me. I mean, silly YouTube vlog, this is high production right here, you know? We've had some budget cuts. We've lost our greens. It's blue now. You'll be no different than all the other people promising that it's not going to be negative. Piss off to Blackpool or Timbuktu.
Timbuktu!
Timbuktu, eh? Wow. Perfect. Now, most people would see these messages and stay as far away as possible from Jaywick, but I just cannot view anybody online as a real person. After a few days of verbal abuse on Facebook, Dante finally got a message from a man named Danny Sloggett. This man is Jaywick. He's made thousands of videos about Jaywick in the area,
nice.
so he felt like the most qualified person to be our tour guide of the most deprived place in the UK. Danny told me to meet him at his house, so we took the 3-hour journey from London to Jaywick, and all I can say is strap in for the wildest Real Life is Wild video we've ever made. I heart Jaywick.
Good afternoon, good evening, good whatever you want it to be.
How are you?
Welcome to the Costa del Jaywick. Where have you been all my life? Life doesn't even begin until you come to Jaywick.
What's the design of the house? I like the...
Well, basically, there's a song by Bob Dylan called All Along the Watchtower. And Jaywick, the survival, it feels like you're in an open prison sometimes. It feels like there's a big high wall around Jaywick when we were younger. Not many things to do, not many places to go. So All Along the Watchtower is about a man trying to get out of somewhere. And there must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. To me, that was a Jaywick song. So to me, I made my house that in Jaywick because there is a way out of here. But now I'm just trying to get back.
Why? What's the special thing about Jaywick to you?
Well, Jaywick is a community spirit. I mean, it's like a Back to the Future film here in Jaywick. It could be the 1950s still. There's no traffic jams in Jaywick. There's no traffic lights. There's no roundabouts. Jaywick is exactly what you see. A lot of my friends, when they got money and jobs, they moved out of Jaywick. They went where the money was, but I decided to stay here. I didn't want that mortgage. I didn't want that same life. I didn't want to live in a concrete jungle. I want to live in the Costa del Jaywick.
Jaywick. What does that mean?
Well, Jaywick is basically people that live here change Jaywick to Jaywick. It's like a Caribbean country, and when you got the beach in the summer, I'll take you to the beach later. It feels like you are in the Caribbean. Right, let me take you in.
The fuck?
To live, you know. On there, I like to see. I want to be. We run it at time. Someone that's trying to make a difference. 40 years. It's very hard to come back from that. But we are,
God,
and we
so
do,
boring,
and we will. And our community.
You want to say anything about? You want to say? Can't be. It looks quite.
The Essex coast, and actually, we were just saying, it looks a lot more upmarket than it did when we came here. Perhaps I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago.
I think it has got a lot more upmarket in them 6-7 years.
No, I was looking around in Street View. I think it's just incredibly bland. I suspect a lot of it is that there's just nothing there. You know. There's just... I don't know what the industry in Jaywick is. I mean, any of these places where it used to be English tourists would go there, because it's near Clacton. It's near, you know, it's like that Essex coast. You've got all those little places that used to be seaside towns. English people would come out of London and they'd go to the Essex coast. And I've been there. Places like Southend, Canvey Island, and all the way along there. It's all these little... Mersey Island, that's nice. Clacton-on-Sea, Walton-on-the-Naze, Frinton-on-Sea, Harwich, Felixstowe, all along the coast. Huge beaches and loads of little villages and things where you could have gone, you know, had a nice holiday. Great Yarmouth. I've been all over Kent, and I'll be honest with you, places like Margate, I've said before, I could imagine Margate, Whitstable, Broadstairs is very nice. But all of these places, they're just a bit run down. Some of them are extremely run down. And you can see Whitstable's. I talked about Whitstable on a previous stream actually, about how if you look at Whitstable, it's actually pretty obviously was able to be brushed up into a middle class destination, especially with the advent of Airbnb, people putting together their own, nice little Airbnbs and such. And then nice restaurants, good seafood. The beachfront is not the sort of one where you're going to come on a holiday in order to go to the beach, because it's like just rocky. But in terms of being a place where you can go and then you can see the rest of Kent, which is a genuinely beautiful county. Which is pretty good. Yarmouth has a vampire problem. What are, like, Lost Boys? Who wants to hear my rant about Margate again? I do. What a pasting. Get back down to South London, you cunts. Well done, lads. That was a good win. So, here's Margate. There's the station. Nice old-fashioned style brewer's fare there. That could be a nice hotel. Station is nice and pretty iconic old-fashioned UK rail station. This could be a pub. It's currently a tattoo studio and unisex barber, but it should absolutely be a pub. This row of houses here looks like it's in poor repair, but if this place ever improved, and came up, these would be some incredibly desirable properties. Look at these. Some sort of Georgian houses right on the seafront. Maybe even earlier than that. Tart this up a bit. This monstrosity is the worst thing about Margate, and it's a fucking pity that this was allowed to be constructed. I don't even know if people live in there. Look at it. Fucking appalling. Absolutely appalling. But you come down here. So you get off the train and you immediately see this beach. That is a large sandy beach. I mean, that is big. For UK beaches, that is deep. It's not long. But look at this. Nice beach. You come down here. Look how shitty this looks. Sorry, Dreamland is amazing. This is fantastic. If you've tarted this building up, that's fantastic. Look at this. These are nice old buildings. This is an eyesore. But so be it. But look at these houses along this building along here. These are not shabby buildings. They have shabby shops in them. Look at that shit. But you could have really fancy restaurants and bistros and fucking, instead of having a Wetherspoons, it could be a nice pub. You could have all kinds of quality shops there selling, you know, good cheeses or Kent cream or whatever the fuck you want to sell. You've got like a nice sort of clock thing going on here. We've got more old houses. Look at this. This could be primo hotel, primo restaurant downstairs. And it's got a great view of Margate and you're looking back, seeing the sea and everything like that. Come back up into the town centre. It's just all shit, isn't it? But you've got the potential here. Look at this. Pedestrianised area up here. Plenty of room for fancy shops and markets and stuff like that. Get people to come down from London and drop some money. Look at this. Look at this. This architecture is no fucking joke, man. Look at it. This is like your classic English seaside architecture. It's just gorgeous. Look at this. This is just begging to be completely renovated into a really snazzy fucking square. Just hotels and bars and restaurants and everything. It could be so nice. Because you will not find architecture like this very often in a completely down at hill UK seaside town. I mean, I know that, you know, maybe you don't like it. If this building right here was in a nice part of London, it'd be worth a fucking fortune. Look at that. That's actual architecture. That's really nice. And it gets better. Because you come around to this end, this is where you get all these massive old buildings that used to be probably B&Bs, apartments. There's an endless supply of huge, fancy old buildings that can be used as housing. This is just an Indian restaurant. Look at this building. These are absolutely stunning. They've got the Turner Contemporary Museum. You come up here. more seaside. Not much beach there, but it's not too bad. So you've got your arty stuff there with the Turner Contemporary. Come up the hill here. More of these big old houses. The views are getting pretty serious now. The Rosas are there. And then you come round and look at this. Look at this. This could be like the fucking highest property price areas in Margate. These buildings are insane. Absolutely insane. That's like the fucking Margate Millionaires Row. And it just keeps going. And these buildings are just so gorgeous. What the fuck? Let's look on Rightmove. So this went for 1.125 million. Absolutely enormous house. Feels like this was owned by a footballer or something. This one went for 960. It's very boring, but it's a nice house. $737. Fucking huge, these houses. I love him. I just think he's the best. You got a garden gnome in your bedroom, brother. These places are ridiculous. I already won things with Bayern. Next week, we have to see. I'm going to do a season where I just try and do as well as possible with Luton for Autistica. So I'll do it. That's going to be next week. I'll do a fundraiser for that because it's like Autism Awareness Month, I think it is, or at least Autistica are doing something this month, fundraising and raising awareness about autism. And the plan is, I think, because one of the heads of Autistica is a Luton fan, that I have to see how far I can get Luton in a single season. So, how well can we do in one season with Luton? I've already got a bit of a strat in mind. Is Luton aware of this? Well, they'll find out. Good shot. Where are we? Somewhere with, I believe those are meant to be palm trees. No, Eclipsis, I did not. Whew. That's a thriller of a game, eh? Where are we? Why hasn't it said what the stadium is? I thought it said on the information. Sir 2? He's one of mine. Signed him for Bayern. Ryan Murphy is amazing, is amazing. Ryan Murphy, amazing. I'll have a look. ChatGPT is good at finding shit like that. Okay. Let's see. Space battleship Yamato.
And welcome to Ships and Stuff. It's restock Star Blazers. It's housing the main. Here.
Ooh. I think this was probably it.
Searching for a distant star, heading off to Iskandar, leaving all we love behind. Who knows what dangers we'll find? We must be strong and brave. Our home we've got to save. If we don't, in just 1 year, Mother Earth will disappear. Fighting with the Gamelons, we won't stop until we've won. Then we'll return and vibe with our sirs.
Jesus Christ.
メタロである。僕も完全に粒子に直し、そのエネルギーを動力。まあいい。直眼動力連動。測定完了。自動追尾装置完了。誤差修正右1度、上下角3度。目標ヤマトの軸線に乗りました。発射。発射。
Good God. Oh yeah, the old mushroom cloud in space. God, they really never got over it, did they? The Japanese, poor lads. Macross. Legend of the Galactic Heroes. See, this is a bit late. I don't think it would be this, because I would have seen this. This would have had to have been on British telly, and I don't. Jesus, have you guys heard about this AI flicks where they just make it all sexy? Have you seen that there's this? Oh God, now I've been searching for anime. You know what's going to happen. What is this?
宇宙歴794年間はわずか300隻に満たないという惨状だった。続く11あらゆる戦術パターンを試していることを察し、次に試されるのが側面躍進背面展開であろうと予測したのである。さらにラインハルトの出撃中点の分布を分析し、それに対応した1万隻にも及ぶ兵力配置まで示して作戦の実行をグリーンヒル大将に委ねたのであった。実際にはヤンが危惧したように同盟軍は兵力を出し惜しみ、完全な包囲網を形成するには至らなかった。そのためラインハルトの軍艦隊は帝国軍にとっては予定の行動である。ラインハルトの軍艦隊も一旦イゼルロン要塞同盟軍の意図を正確に看破し得た。
狙いは悪くない。だが敵にはただ一つ誤算があったな。
それは
俺がイゼルローンにいたことだ。
警戒する同盟軍には目もくれず、敵の分
恥をかくときに少しだけマシな働き。
I think it might have been Battleship Yamato, because this would have been the right kind of time for it to be on old telly. Do you know what I mean? No, there was very little. I remember, is it called Castles in the Sky? That's a Ghibli, isn't it? That was on TV, like, BBC Two, middle of a Sunday, and I turned it on and I thought, oh, a cartoon. And I could not believe it. It was so cool. And then Akira was on British TV, and that was, everyone at school was, like, obsessed with that. But then when we found out that there was also plenty of anime out there that had tits in it, we wanted more and more, but it's genuinely very hard to get. Urotsuki Doji Legend of the Overfiend is an example of one, and it's just tentacle porn basically, and we young lads at school thought that was fucking amazing. But yeah, there were some. I mean, I think a lot of the cartoons that we got on BBC TV and ITV were through DiC International, the French company that made. It was like a French-Japanese co-production. Because the French fucking love their anime-style cartoons and manga, but it's never fantasy stuff. Or not often, it always seems to be about French trappers in the 19th century or something to do with an archaeologist. It's all quite sort of odd. Like, if you think about the setting for Tintin, although I think Hergé was Belgian, that's the kind of thing. It was all Tintin-y. Or like Asterix, which is ostensibly historic. They didn't just make the sort of superhero stuff. I think Belle and Sebastian, the band, are named after the cartoon Belle and Sebastian, which was like a French cartoon. French comics. Well, there's loads. Here's one called Largo Winch. I mean, that's clearly you know, an adult comic in that no kid's going to be like, wow, Largo Winch OPA. He's the head of a business empire after his adoptive father Niero is murdered, and goes through a lot of troubles to preserve his inheritance. It's like, oh wow. See, they did a fucking comic about the bloody Civil War. I'm sure they made this as a game. North versus South. Look how shit this was. Me and my mate fucking loved this game on the Amiga.
Site is obviously lacks the history and context of where the train is going to two states.
This looks like a worse version. What platform are you playing this on?
Kentucky, a place of the magic.
Oh, on the NES? It was better on the Amiga. I mean, to be fair, Heretic, I feel like we have as well. I mean, a lot of 2000 AD was not for kids. I mean, it's not like little kids would be reading fucking some of the dank stuff in 2000 AD. It was incredibly gory and really genuinely quite scary at times. And then, you know, things like Watchmen, you know, Moore didn't make comics for kids. I think there have been plenty of British comics and British comic writers that would take exception to that statement. I mean, Preacher, The Boys. There's been loads, isn't there? There've been loads. I'm trying to think if there was an equivalent to that Robert Crumb era of San Francisco and California comic book artists making things like, well, all of Robert Crumb's stuff, Zap comics, Freak Brothers comics, that were kind of countercultural of their time. And the comic book code was not something that applied to these comics. But certainly growing up in the UK, you know, we fucking bought loads of comics. We loved them. Cannot believe that we're going to lose him for this tiny amount of money. He's 31. He's amazing. He scored 17 goals for us last season. He's already scored twice for us this season. Why do you think I want to sell you? Why is he transfer listed? Oh, really? Is he as bonkers as he seems? He seems like a really cool guy, but he also seems mad as a brush. From Hell is probably my favourite comic I've ever read. I loved it so much. Anyway, I am cream crackered. I got up early today and we already did a Triforce today, so I'm going to take a break. But I will see you guys this evening. Hope you can join me then. Probably be on a bit earlier than 8 because Mrs. F isn't here. The kids want nothing to do with me. I just have to provide dinner to them and give them money. And that's it, which, you know, works for me. I'll see you guys tonight. Cheers for watching. Take it easy. Peace out.